Have you ever wondered why your school never taught you about the first known human civilization, the Sumerians? What did they invent? Did they really invent a lot of things that we take for granted nowadays? And what do they have to do with the biblical story of the Great Flood? Why do scientists ignore them? And why is the information being kept secret? This is the forgotten pioneers, the Sumerians. The Sumerians were the first known civilization in the world. The cradle of civilization, which emerged in ancient Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, Kuwait, and Turkey around 6,000 years ago. The Sumerians didn't just emerge out of nowhere. The civilization developed from the Ubad culture after several millennia. The Sumerian language also didn't just pop up. It had its roots in the earlier Ubad culture. Yet when we talk about the birth of civilization, we talk about the Sumerians because they took everything to the next level. To put it simply, they invented the city. The Sumerians were the first to settle in cities and establish urban centers in large numbers. So while the Ubaid people knew how to build houses and plant crops, the Sumerians were the first to build monumental structures, temples, palaces, and they were also the first to master large-scale agriculture through advanced irrigation. And they became so good at agriculture that they could feed tens of thousands of people. That's how the first cities were built. More people meant more ideas and innovation, leading to groundbreaking inventions in science, technology, and art. In fact, most of the things that we take for granted nowadays can be traced back to the Sumerians. For instance, the very calendar that you're looking at right now has Sumerian roots. We don't know exactly who invented the calendar, but the Sumerians are among the first civilizations to develop a system of timekeeping based on lunar phases. They divided the day into 12 hours, roughly matching the hours of daylight and darkness. But what's even more fascinating is how they split an hour into 60 minutes and a minute into 60 seconds. That's actually a direct inheritance from the Sumerians. You heard that right? Your smartphone is full of Sumerian technology. Not only did the Sumerians introduce the base 60 counting system, but they also established the first documented time zones. Thanks to them, we have the 12 constellations that form the basis of modern astrology. Not only did they have an understanding of the night sky, but they also developed the first geometry system. You know those angles and degrees in math? Yeah, those come from the Sumerians too. In fact, without their innovations in mathematics, we wouldn't have GPS systems, satellites, or even basic construction projects. Their geometric system allowed them to build large-scale projects like the Ziggurat of Ur, one of the largest pyramids in the world. But their greatest breakthrough was writing. The Sumerians created the first known writing system, Cuneiform, which combined symbols and pictographs to represent words and sounds. With writing came bureaucracy, contracts, record-keeping, and the world's first schools. Unfortunately, only a privileged few, trained as scribes, could read and write. But it laid the foundation for communication and education. Thousands of their inscribed clay tablets still exist, hidden in museum basements around the world. Some contain personal letters, while others are official documents or religious hymns. They are the key to understanding Sumerian culture, but we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. Most of the tablets are in European museums, making it difficult for Middle Eastern countries to access and study them. But it's not just about physical distance. It's also about resources and expertise. Translating and deciphering ancient texts requires specialists and institutions that can dedicate time and funding to such pursuits. Additionally, many Sumerian tablets were discovered during archaeological excavations conducted by Western powers in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, which contributed to their concentration in Western museums. Now let's talk about another invention that changed the course of history: the wheel. While it's commonly believed that the Sumerians invented the wheel, recent studies suggest otherwise. Archaeological evidence indicates that the wheel appeared independently in several regions, including Central Europe, the Near East, and China around the same time. However, the Sumerians were the first to put wheels to practical use. They revolutionized transportation and trade and played a vital role in expanding cities and empires. In fact, without the wheel, we wouldn't have roads, cars, or airplanes. But the Sumerians didn't stop there. They created the first sewer systems and irrigation networks that supported the growth of canals and the expansion of cities. They also invented the sailboat, which enabled trade with regions as far away as what is now Pakistan, more than 3,000 years before the Silk Road. Trade wasn't just about goods. It was a cultural exchange that influenced art, customs, and beliefs. For instance, the Sumerians enjoyed wearing jewelry, often incorporating lapis lazuli, a semi-precious stone commonly sourced from Afghanistan. Similarly, cosmetics were an integral part of Sumerian culture. They used scented oils, kohl for eyeliner, and henna for nail and body art. The love for beauty products continues to thrive in many Middle Eastern countries today, reflecting cultural exchanges from those ancient times. And let's not forget about beer. Over 500 brewing recipes are recorded on their tablets, showcasing their mastery of brewing techniques. They celebrated their love for beer with festivals and incorporated it into religious rituals. This tradition has left a lasting legacy in many cultures, including Germany, Belgium, and even ancient Egypt. The Sumerians weren't just innovative. They were also quite sporty. Wrestling was a popular pastime, and women actively participated in athletic competitions. They organized the first known sporting events, encouraging physical fitness and healthy competition. Even board games like Royal Game of Your provided entertainment and strategic challenges. What's even more intriguing is their belief in the cosmos. The Sumerians were among the first to challenge the prevailing belief that the Earth is the center of the universe. Their observations of the night sky led them to propose heliocentric theories thousands of years before Copernicus. One remarkable artifact is the Solar System Tablet, which depicts planets revolving around the sun, challenging the long-held geocentric view. It suggests that the Sumerians possessed advanced astronomical knowledge, but their understanding of the cosmos goes beyond just the solar system. They kept meticulous records of eclipses, comets, and other celestial phenomena, helping to refine calendars and predict astronomical events. These observations allowed them to develop agricultural practices aligned with seasonal cycles, ensuring successful harvests and contributing to the growth of their civilizations. Speaking of growing civilizations, if you want to see your channel grow as well, now let's return to the fascinating topic of the Sumerians. They were also deeply concerned with mortality and the afterlife. Their beliefs were shaped by their close observation of nature and the passage of seasons. They recognized that life was not eternal and death was inevitable. To cope with this reality, they created elaborate burial rituals and constructed massive tombs for their rulers. The Sumerians had a rich mythology that explained the origins of the world, humanity, and the afterlife. They believed in a pantheon of gods and goddesses who controlled various aspects of nature and human life. One of their most famous myths is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which tells the story of a Sumerian king and his adventures. This epic poem explores themes of mortality, friendship, and the search for immortality, and is considered one of the oldest pieces of literature in human history. Perhaps the most perplexing aspect of Sumerian culture is their belief in the Anunnaki, a group of deities or extraterrestrial beings who supposedly visited Earth in ancient times. According to their beliefs, the Anunnaki came from the planet Nibiru and had advanced technology. They were responsible for bringing knowledge and civilization to humans, shaping the course of human history. The idea of the Anunnaki has fueled speculation and debate regarding the possibility of extraterrestrial intervention in human affairs. While mainstream historians dismiss it as mythology, some believe that the Sumerian texts provide genuine accounts of alien encounters. Now, you might be wondering, why have we never heard about this in school? Well, let's start with the obvious. There's just so much history to cover in a limited amount of time. Textbooks have to prioritize major events and influential civilizations. Plus, the Sumerians' contributions to science and technology, while groundbreaking, may not be as flashy as, say, the construction of the pyramids. Then there's the issue of bias and perspective. History is often written from the perspective of the victors or those in power. The Sumerians, living in ancient Mesopotamia, may not have been part of the dominant narratives that shaped mainstream history. The discovery and interpretation of Sumerian artifacts and texts are often done by Western scholars, which can introduce biases in how their culture and achievements are presented. But perhaps the most significant reason is the sheer volume of undiscovered material. Tens of thousands of Sumerian tablets remain unexplored, and many more artifacts await discovery. Until we uncover more, our understanding will be incomplete. There are also ongoing debates and disagreements among scholars regarding the interpretation of Sumerian texts, mythology, and historical accounts. Let me ask you this. What surprised you the most about the Sumerians? Let me know in the comments. And hey, thanks for sticking around till the end. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for more exciting historical tales.